Good to know you joining us again today. Thank you very much for being there. My name is Dapo Aruwajoye. And basically, it's 2 weeks left now, some 15 days left for the change of baton of leadership in Nigeria from the outgoing government to the incoming government of Buhari and as the outgoing government of President Goodluck Jonathan. Basically, let me run over the transition program, the calendar. On the 22nd of May, there will be a Jumat service and interdenominational service, a church service on the 24th of May. And also the 28th of May is the handover of notes to the incoming government. And also the 29th is the inauguration proper. So we're going to be staying with what we started earlier this week. That's talking about the transition progress or process, which one we want to choose there. And to help us talk this morning, to do a proper discussion of this topic is Dr. Okbebanwo, is an attorney and also a public commentator and also a co-founder Change Vigilantes organization. Thank you very much, Dr. Okbe. And also we have a friend of the house also, Chukwemeka is a legal practitioner and editor-in-chief, Media Law Reports. Thank you very much, Barrister, for joining us.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Yes, I hope I'm safe. I'm in the midst of two lawyers.
So we can deal with it.
Yes, no problem. So, gentlemen, it's not the first time that we have a change of baton, a government, old government leaving, another one coming in. But a lot has been said and done. You remember there was an argument, a big argument about should it be 28th, should it be 29th? That one seems to have been settled now. And recently we heard the one about Chief Lai Mohammed, Alhaji Lai Mohammed of the APC, saying that, okay, the PDP is not, is frustrating, or the president is frustrating efforts for a better handover. And later we heard Olisa Metu of the PDP saying, no, that's not the case. And we heard Ahmed Joda, the head of the committee itself, saying no problems, everything is going smoothly. So at last we know everything is going smoothly. Okay, hopefully we're going to be having a peaceful and a very a good handover program. But I was going to ask you, because I said when I started this discussion that it's not the first time that we're having a handover ceremony. Why all the bickering this time? Why all the hula baloo?
Well, it's the first time we are having a change of government from one party to the other at the federal level. Okay, at least since we started this Third Republic. All along it has been PDP handing over to itself. And since they are all the same, they all did the same things together. The issue of suspicion or fears did not arise. But in this case, not only is the ruling party handing over to a whole different party that has been in opposition, there's also so much high expectations from Nigerians, and there's also so much what we want to call anxiety or fears that the outgoing government has done a lot of things wrong. The outgoing government is thinking these people coming in are going to persecute me. So there is this mutual suspicion that is going on and needs to be expected. Remember, this is the first time we are going through this in Nigeria, and I think so far it's been handled very well by both sides, regardless of all the allegations on both sides. I think both sides are being classy about it, and 29th will be here soon enough. So for me, rather than seeing it as a negative thing, I would take the Jordan angle. Okay, it was being very mature. That does not mean there was no problem. That does not mean there were no issues. But he realized that this is not the time to start eating up the polity. Let's just work with what they give us. Whether they do hand over properly or not, on 29th they're gone. Whatever you get in your office, you start dealing with. And I think there is no cause for alarm as far as I'm concerned.
No cause for alarm. Barrister, do you think there's no cause for alarm also? Because, you know, these two committees or two governments now, incoming government and the outgoing government, some people say they should see themselves as a partner in progress. And when you're handing over, it's a very sensitive and very delicate situation we're looking at there. There should be transparency and not leaving some psychological scares in the minds of both parties. So there should be transparency. Everybody should know, Nigerians should know what is happening.
I think this has been overtaken by events because both sides have said they don't have problems. So we shouldn't build up one for them. Now the media should concentrate on the other arm of the government. Because as we are transiting, it's not only the executive that is transiting. The legislature will be transiting, although not exactly on May 29. But a few days after that, we'll be having the 8th session of the National Assembly. It is high time that the media should concentrate on the characters that are trying to head that relevant arm of government.
You mean the principal officers?
Sure. Because who are there? Some of them may be cultists. Some of them, it's true. We are not mirroring them. We are not mirroring them. We are just talking about zoning. We are just talking about their past 4 years or 8 years in the National Assembly, or whether they are ranking or non-ranking. I mean, we should go down. Will these people from their past be able to work with the president, or will such a character develop hiccups in working with the president? So it is now time for the media to go into all the key personalities that want to assume leadership of the National Assembly. Because basically, 29th May will come and pass. A new government will be in power. So trying to exploit whether some people are already writing hand over nose, will be taking the matter to a jejune point. I think we should raise very fundamental issues that will affect the lives of Nigerians, because this transition has come to stay and it must come to pass. As far as the executive, though there is more highlight as it affects the executive aspect of the government.
And the legislative also.
But if you look at the Constitution, Section 4 mentioned the legislature. That's to tell you it is more important. Section 5, the executive, and Section 6, the judiciary. Though not in a ranking order. But if I mention first, it shows the importance the Constitution has.
But the executive comes first. That's
no. The legislature comes first in a democracy.
Okay.
Yeah, my learned friend can confirm it. It is the legislature. So the media should exploit its agenda setting role to let the people know that these people that are coming to become leaders of the legislature, there is a struggle that they don't want to be rubber stamp. There is a struggle that somebody somewhere should not dictate for 360 members of the House of Reps. Somebody should not say it is Lagbaja or it is Rabiu or Okoro. I mean, so the members, it is good that the incoming president, the president-elect has said, I want to allow them to elect any of their members to head them. Whoever they elect, I'm ready to work with.
Okay, we will definitely talk about that, but it's much more important also to talk about who, how, and the process which this government is going to be handing over to the other government. Because in the legislative arm of government, I don't believe people hand over to people, really. You just come, you go. Oh, that's the whole idea.
They do. As a matter, they do very well, because the president of the Senate, there's so many things that were hanging, that are still hanging. And when he's going to hand over, he needs to say what are the stages of the legislation, what are the things that have been put on the back burner, what are the things that, and then they need to look at it. There's also the issue of finances. There's also the issue of the state of the committees and all of. Government is a continuum. Okay, the new legislature is not going to start from zero. They're going to start from where the last one left. Bills that are pending will have to be picked up where they left it. They're not going to start all over. So all of that need to be, but like my learned colleague rightly said, I don't want us to over-focus on whether the Jonathan government is cooperating fully or not fully with the APC government in handing over. This is to be expected, okay? They are thinking you're going to probe me. You are thinking they need to give me all the documents I need to start getting ready to probe them. They are not going to be so smooth in doing that. Let's not be unrealistic. So instead of focusing on that, we should be focusing on the leaders we are going to get. Like you rightly said, who are these guys who are vying for Senate presidency? All right, first they went to zoning, now they're dropping zoning, now they are talking about interference and all that. Yet, we are not critically assessing the 3 or 4 or 5 people that are in the public domain as vying for this position. That's what we should be talking about, because the legislature will give the direction how this country is going to go.
We'll definitely talk about it, but
Okay.
people really want to know how much do we have to celebrate this because the APC is saying we should, and even Governor Fashola has said it some days ago, that this handing over ceremony really should be a low-key one. Yeah. That is what, that is from that angle I want to take it from. It should be a low-key. But some people are arguing that when you have a president of different nations coming together, how can that be a low-key? And because some people are saying, according to Section 140 of the Constitution, normally that day should be is for people to declare their assets and also to take the oaths of office. Are we losing focus? Are we going away from there? That's from that angle we want us to look at this conversation today.
No, I've not seen anything they've announced so far that is out of the ordinary. They're going to have 2 different prayer sessions. I think we should have, as a matter of fact, all the churches in the land should be praying, all the mosques should be praying, all the different types of religion should be praying hard, because this is a pivotal time in our government. So I don't think, if that's what they mean by low-key, that this should be low-key. The prayer should not be low-key. All right? Even the celebration of handing over shouldn't be low-key. Listen, we need to celebrate the progress of our democracy. I'm not saying celebrate and go spend billions. In terms of, you can celebrate in a very nice way without spending so much money. It's the very first, there's a lot of history happening here. The very first time a sitting president will lose election and will peacefully hand over. The first time opposition at the federal level is going to be taken over from a ruling party. There's a lot of stuff to celebrate. Let's not berate ourselves and be, yes, there's a lot of weighty issues facing Nigerians, okay? But we should celebrate the little victories that we have. Maybe we don't appreciate the victory that this is, because we didn't have to go to war, because we didn't have to go out on the streets and Save Nigeria group did not have to do all sorts of stuff, because everything, somehow God arranged it for us, for everything to be going on smoothly. That's why we are saying, oh, we shouldn't say, no, it should be big celebration without, of course, the unnecessary every expense. People, different bodies should be encouraged to celebrate this handover, because it is going to go down in the history of Nigeria.
A lot to celebrate.
There's a lot to celebrate. We need to celebrate the fact that we didn't have to go fight on the street. We need to celebrate the fact that a sitting president willingly accepted defeat and called his colleague to congratulate him. We need to celebrate the fact that we have a former general that everybody thought should not come to power because of his past human rights records, who has won the heart of Nigerians and is coming in. We need to celebrate the fact that an opposition party for 16 years is not going to be taking over government. We need to celebrate plenty. So
a lot. Barrister Isaac, I'll put the same question to you, but this after the break, please. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Towards the transition, that is what we are looking at. And Barrister Isaac, before we went on break, I said I was going to come to you. And I was asking, because Dr. Okpebaho said there's a lot to celebrate. Is it, okay, we know there's a lot to celebrate. Is it the mannerism of a celebration that we need to look at now?
When it comes to celebration, I don't prescribe for people what to do. In any case, the government in power already has its budget. So even the comments are vague. Let us see the particulars. Let them go into particulars so that we will now know some of the things that are needful and some of those things that are not needful.
Because you know where I said that according to Section 140. I know. You remember the last time, because when they asked President Goodluck Jonathan his assets then, he said he did not give a damn. But I didn't remember, maybe it was during the handover ceremony. No, I think because if you are not focusing on the issues itself, that is why it gets derailed.
I will get to that. I was laying the background. Basically, it is a matter of law that they have to fill the asset declaration forms. And Jonathan never said he did not fill the forms. He was being pummeled or compelled to make it public, to run along Yaradua, who made his own public. The law does not compel you to make it public. So being Yar'Adua's former deputy and his boss made his own public,
Doesn't mean
it was discretionary. It was not by law that Yar'Adua, after all, Obasanjo didn't make his own public. So it was Yar'Adua who on his own decided to do so, to lead by example. So the press wanted Jonathan to equally toe the line of his boss, former boss, but he refused. So whether we like it or not, people will fill the asset declaration forms. It does not matter about whatever view, whatever opinion I have here. People must go by it. If they don't do that, they will end up at the Code of Conduct tribunal.
Do Nigerians don't Nigerians have the right to know how much my president or their president earns?
For them to do that, they should now tell the 8th session of the National Assembly to pass a law making declaration of assets form public. And in any case, they can also ask through that law that by way of freedom of information, any Nigerian can apply that the contents of such forms be revealed to him. So until the law is amended, the current state of the law does not support it should be made public.
So it comes to the lawmakers again?
It comes to the legislature. As far as I'm concerned, that is what Nigerians should press for. And it is not, so this is not the first time that people have been declaring us. In 1999, 2003, 2007, 2011, people have been, those in power have been declaring assets. And those who refuse to do so, definitely they've gone against the law, and the law takes its due course. It's only one president that decided to make it public. So if you apply now to get the contents of the form of any of the politicians, I am too sure that it will not be revealed to you.
Dr. Banwo, how long will it take for the legislative arm of the government to, even they themselves, we don't even know how much they make as a salary. So do you think they're going to be easy? It's going to be easy for them to say, okay, now let's make the assets of the president open? Because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to them also. What don't you think?
Not only should it be open, it should be published on a website where anybody can download it at any time. The fact that we're even discussing whether it is legal for them to reveal it to the public tells you the kind of politicians we have. It should not be an issue. What is the whole idea behind declaring assets if the people that we are supposed to declare it to will not see it? To me, saying that it is not a requirement for it to be made public, to me, is being sophistic. It's basically trying to argue what doesn't make sense. The law says declare your asset. What is the spirit behind that law? You are supposed to declare your assets to the people who elected you. Now you are telling me they didn't put it in that law that the people should see. So who is saying it? If you declare it and the Nigerian people don't have access to it, is that declaration? That is deception. That is basically being legalistic. So for me, we will know from these incoming people, okay, which of them intend to be a thief, which of them is not trustworthy. If they're even arguing whether they should make it public or not, you don't have a right to private a declaration anymore. The minute you come out to say you want to be president, you want to be senator, you want to be governor, you have already lost your right to personal privacy when it comes to your assets. You need to tell us. Because really the way it works in other countries is that you declare your assets, okay, yes, and then you sign a blind trust. You are not supposed to be involved in that in those businesses for as long as you are a governor or you are a president. So you wall yourself off from your own company so that there is no issue of favoritism, okay, issue of applying government funds to serve your personal interests. That's what we have in Nigeria. We don't have that in Nigeria. That's why you find out a lot of the contracts that are being awarded to companies where, in such a shameless manner in Nigeria, where you see a sitting minister or a sitting governor, he goes to register a company. His name is in that board of directors or the names of his children. And that organization is winning contracts in a government that it sits.
And is a serving senator.
And it's a serving senator. That is corruption by itself, whether the process was transparent or not. So the whole idea of asset declaration is for us to know what you are worth before you come into government. And when you are leaving also, you are required to declare your assets so that we know what you are worth now. So we want to know how you move from 200 million to 50 billion, or how Animba can move from being a personal assistant to Obasanjo to declaring 1.2 trillion. The man declared 1.2 trillion and nobody arrested him. Nobody said what happened. So we are not going back there. We are talking change. That's why we formed Change Vigilantes. Those are the things we're going to be monitoring.
You're going to be monitoring those?
Oh, yes. Once they declare, we expect, and I'm still on my man, Buhari will do it. I said Buhari to come and say, this is what I'm worth. These are my assets. And then all his boys have to follow through.
But before we went on this platform, you said Buhari will definitely do it. But Barrister Chukwuemeka, Barrister Chukwuemeka said, will Buhari be everywhere? Will Buhari be at the floor of the Senate?
I must submit with due respect that my colleague is discussing the matter on idealistic terms. That is to say, expectations.
Yeah.
So, good. But the manifesto of the incoming party, is it contained there? That
he will do it.
No, that asset declaration will not be made public. It's not part of their manifesto. So it's good to have so many expectations. Every Nigerian you call will tell you of so many expectations. But be it known to you that all of them will not come to pass.
Certainly.
Good. Certainly. And now, be it as it may, you are asking whether it will be everywhere. Leadership matters a lot. That's why Professor Chinua Achebe, may his soul rest in peace, said that the trouble with Nigeria is leadership. So if Buhari leads by example, it will trickle down. There's what we call the trickle-down effect. It will trickle down. But my fear is that we run an elitist democracy. Elitist in the sense that, take it from the point of even party management. If you come to a party, few people, they call the shots. Only they call them stakeholders. 5 people may just be managing a whole political party. Forget about all the other names. They just put in the names.
Those managing the country also.
That is it. So we are here to run a mass-oriented democracy. And to begin to build too many hopes on the elite, who, when after doing their willing and dealing, they will come out and smile and walk away. So you'll be here giving Nigerians so much hope. Let them even begin by running a... That's why, remember the other time, a certain national chairman of a political party wanted their members registered properly online. But their governor resisted it. They are not even interested to know the exact number of their members. Do you know why? They wanted to be manipulating figures, and people want to come out and say, I have 50 million supporters, I have 30,000 supporters, I have 40,000. So we run away from figures. We have data phobia in this country, and this is a place you want to be. So Nigerians will be so much happy if the incoming government will give them power. You see, they are even ready to allow those at the top to be making their willing and dealing. Just give us what falls from the crumbs that falls from the master.
Table.
Give us light so that when I want to play music, I play my music. Give me good road to pass on. Give me railway so that I can quickly go to run my businesses. By the time you put certain things in place, quite in order, definitely you will discover that Nigerians will care a little over whether even these things are publicly declared or
or not.
It is because they are not performing, and people are now asking, where are these monies that you announce in budgets? You announce budgets, but at the end of the day, those projects are not performed. Where are these monies?
So the basic amenities are not there. And also, Dr. Bao, if you want to include, if you want to checkmate the activities of the executive, you really, because we have to go to that legislative arm of the government, you really need, because, okay, maybe we'll go to the discussion now, the leadership of the House. You need vibrant people. You need people that that are people-oriented. Because of recent, you have people like... what's his name? The Kogi senator Dino Melaye saying that they should slash the salaries of the lawmakers maybe by half, and you have someone like Senator Ben Bruce coming out saying, okay, I don't fly first class, I am down to earth kind of senator. Is that going to change the perspective or change the notion that the executive has, like, okay, nobody is really monitoring me, let me do whatever I like?
Well, the narrative is already changing, whether they like it or not. When a so-called elite, quote and unquote, like a Ben Bruce comes out and starts speaking in those type of language, you know it's not going to be business as usual in this new National Assembly. But I want to quickly address something before I talk more about that on the issue about what the law says and what the politicians should do. Because my learned colleague has said, listen, the law did not say they should do this, so it would be wrong of me to expect them to do that. No. See, public office should be more
I didn't say it to be wrong of you.
Okay.
I didn't
Public,
use that
no,
term.
you didn't say it's wrong. You say I shouldn't have that expectation.
No, you should have it, but it's not the position now.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
You should have it.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
There's no problem.
And I'm saying the fact that it's not the position does not mean...
I agree with your position.
Okay.
Provided is something to happen in future.
Okay, what I'm trying to say, is that our public officers, okay, should understand that it is more about them being morally responsible to the people that elected them than the letters of the law. Even the Bible says that he who relies on the law perishes under the law. And I'm sure there's also something like that in the Quran. Because if we want to keep going legalistic, we can always dodge anything. I'm a lawyer. You give me a document, I can always find a way around it if I want to be finicky about it. But the spirit behind it, after all, in UK, they don't even have a constitution. And yet things go according to what everybody agrees it should be. We should be moving closer to that, and I'm happy for the Dino Melayes of this world. I'm happy for the Ben Bruces of this world. Our own job as Nigerians now is to hold them to those words, because once they get there and this money starts to exchange hands, then the elite might start to gather together to rape us again, the way it's been done. So, but once we keep reminding a Ben Bruce, every time he talks, I remind him, I have it stored on Change Vigilante's website. So every time he talks, I'm going to refer back to him. This is what you said, man. I'm saying if we don't all gather together to make sure that this change happens, we will lose it. That's why I created changevigilantes.com, where we go in there, where we talk about things that need to be changed, where we hold Buhari responsible for that Chatham House wonderful speech. Okay, I've broken down into 12 segments, and we are watching. The minute it starts going against any of them, we are going to challenge him, not as opposition. Everybody knows I'm a hardcore Buharis. I've never apologized for it. So, but I will be one that will hold his feet to the fire, that you have to do this. So that way, it does not fall prey, okay, to all the, what we call the elitists around him. Remember, we might have gotten the change in terms of the election. A lot of the people that are in APC now, with all due respect, are also people who used to be in PDP. Okay, they also have a lot of interest to protect. Let's be frank here. But I didn't have any fear voting a Buhari, because my confidence is that Buhari at least will lead by example, and then once he leads by example, everybody else starts to lead by example. But it is hard. It's a harder sell. Even appointed ministers, we're already hearing there's a lot of problem here. So we need to help a Buhari to give us the change we want by being very vigilant and shouting all the time and holding them responsible. That's what I'm saying. We can't, because we have the laws. Contrary to what anybody might say. See, the laws about accountability in Nigeria is one of the best in the world, because it was patterned after the British laws, but it is not being enforced.
We seem to ignore it.
Exactly, because the spirit is wrong, because the moral of it is wrong. And that's what I'm saying. That's the direction we should go. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not so much interested in what does the letter of the law says. I'm interested in what does the spirit say. If you have assets and they say you should declare it, why don't you want to make it public? Is it that there's something in your asset that you're ashamed for us, or you're embarrassed for us to know about, in which case you shouldn't be a public officer? So that is the pressure.
Because I wonder when it's declared, the asset is declared.
Yes.
Is it hidden?
Sure. It is right now.
It is right now.
But what's the essence of you declaring your assets? Why we don't know it?
I think he has espoused so much on asset declaration.
Yes.
I don't have any problem with his position.
Yes.
So let's go into another matter.
And we go to that leadership issue.
Yes. Now, you are celebrating what Dino Melaye has said and what Ben Bruce has said. But neither of these two is contesting to be Senate president. So don't you think the will-be Senate president, if he doesn't buy their positions, will not allow them to speak up? And they may end up becoming media senators. That is, senators that will come inside that place, they will clamp down on them and outside they will want to carry the
So
table.
if they all shout the nays and the
yes, they will continue to lose out. And that is why the media should go directly to Bukola Saraki, Ahmed Lawan, Senator George Akume.
What's up?
Those three have been thrown up and say, what's your position on this? We want to run a lean government, on making Nigerians to know how much the members of the National Assembly earn, on the outcome of the National Conference. Nobody is asking them these questions. And I hold the media to accuse such an accusation. They are not setting the agenda. Developmental
agendas.
Yes, they are not running this developmental agenda such that Nigerians can key into fundamental issues. This is why we should clamor for A or clamor for B, because he will assist. No matter who Buhari is, Buhari needs assistance.
And
so if we concentrate only on Buhari, let me tell you,
not going to make it.
And you get the wrong person, they will help in pulling him down.
And you need to have the right person at the leadership of the legislative arm of government.
I'm so much concerned, as we speak concerning the House of Reps. We hear of Dogara, we hear of Gbajabiamila, we hear of this. Who are there? What are they coming to do? Now, petroleum industry bill has been in the 7th national.
I think they're going to review it soon.
See, they cannot pass it between now and May 29. So they are just playing to the gallery. We know it. So from the beginning, are you having a Senate president and a House Speaker that will allow a bill to spend 4 years, a fundamental bill, especially touching on the economy of the country, to spend 4 years in the National Assembly? This should bother Nigeria, because if they don't pass such laws, Buhari cannot implement laws that have not been passed.
Dr. Bao, is it the leadership? Is it the leadership itself that has made the kind of bill like the PIB, which is very, very crucial to the economy of this country? Maybe it could have made us a better country economically. The PIB, is it the leadership of the legislative arm of the government, or the conglomerate of the legislators themselves?
Like everything for the last 3 years I've been saying it, the problem of Nigeria is leadership. It's always leadership. And the body language, all the way from the president, all the way to the president of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, is what determines what move forward. If the leadership is convinced this is the direction we should go. This PIB, if Jonathan, even right now, okay, as lame dog president as he may be, as they call it. Yeah, no, that's how they call it everywhere in the world. They call them, it's not an abusive word. It's like lame president means really you are going out, there's not much you can achieve during that short term. Even if he's convinced today that he wants to get that PIB passed, he can still pass it. But they are not, because of interest that they all want to share. So it comes down to leadership, and that is why I agree with my learned friend here 100% that we need to watch those guys who are bidding for all these top positions. What exactly is that? Were they even in the committee on this PIB built-in that have been playing around with it for 4 years? We don't even know what committees they belong to. Maybe they've been part of the cog in the wheel of progress in this country. We may not know that because we don't know the inner workings of the Senate. We've not paid attention on it. So because if we have the wrong leadership, then this change is dead on arrival. You have to understand that. Buhari can stay in Aso Rock and say, this is what I need to do. All right, if the Senate decides that they are not going to pass the law, then he can't do it, because if he does it, what are you going to say? Oh, military dictator is here again. The man just wants to be doing things outside of the... So the legislator, like you rightly said, is the spearhead of everything. The executive executes law. They cannot execute a law that is not passed. That will be unconstitutional. Then we'll talk about impeachment.
Maybe I'll rephrase. Let me quickly rephrase my question. Is it the leadership now that is making all these laws? Okay, that is derailing the course of all these laws that should be maybe like the PIB.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, what does it take? What does it take to pass a bill? First reading, second reading, third reading. Vote. It shouldn't take a week if they really want to do this.
The other paper on each day, the day's business, the person in
charge of it is one that determines it.
Rules and business. Who determines what should be listed?
Yes, it's the Senate president. So if he removes it, it's the leadership that removes it.
You cannot list anything without the Senate president or the Speaker saying list it. If you list it without his, approval,
I know.
I mean, you'll be on your own.
And then if it's not listed, it cannot be discussed. You see the game? The elites have been playing on us. David Mark.
Even appropriation.
Yes.
You spend 5 months before you pass appropriation bill. Do you know whether they have insisted that the president must settle them before they will pass it? So you need to know who is coming to head the
Barrister Eze, okay, that brings us to this because they were very, 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 very active.
Buhari cannot do everything by itself. That's why we have changed vigilantes. Everybody that is supposed to be part of this change, we are going to hold them because we need to focus on it.
Every Nigerian must play vigilante.
Yes,
every Nigerian.
Change vigilante to let them go register and start to fight.
See, but let me ask you a question. Why is it that of recent, you had a leadership of the Senate very, very active when it comes to this constitution amendment until the Supreme Court says, okay, you guys take it easy?
I don't believe they were very active. If they were very active, let me tell you, every action being taken by the legislature in May 2015 on a fundamental bill in Nigeria, I see it as playing to the gallery.
Do you think even this one?
One is constitutional amendment.
Yes.
Number two, petroleum industry bill. They are dead on arrival. I give you an instance. You know, by reason of that constitutional amendment, they would have allowed creation of states. Many delegations being led to the legislators to create states, they were giving assurances to those delegates. And nothing happens for nothing. When you were coming in, go and read what they started with. Senate president assured that states will be created. Now they are living without creation. So those people would have been calling them and saying, but you assured us. And they will tell them that this,
don't worry, there's no time.
This constitutional amendment, if we finish it, it will now give room for creation of states. They are now living. So some of these things are not being done for the purposes you think. I think those two, they know they cannot within this month conclude those two issues.
Dr. Bawo, are they playing to the gallery? You think they're playing to the gallery?
Well, they've always been playing to the gallery. And if somebody tells me they're going to pass constitutional amendments that will have those far-reaching conclusions as creation of states in the space of 12, 14 days, then they are calling us fools. And certainly not all Nigerians are fools. In any case, I think there is too much energy being expended on this so-called constitutional amendment. Even if you amend the constitution to make it perfect, if you have people with bad intentions, it cannot work. If you have bad leaders, it cannot work. That's why I've been shouting for the last 3 years that what we need is good leadership. Once you have good leadership, even as flawed as our constitution is, they will make it work. Is all I'm saying. Because what is complicated in, there's a scandal of 20 billion in NNPC. Investigate it, do it within 2 weeks, prosecute. What is hard there? It is self-interest that they are all protecting because it is our senators that own oil blocks. It is our senators that are doing this oil subsidy. Go and look at some of them are even so blatant, where the memo and articles of these companies that are collecting oil subsidy, I'll include their names. They just call us fools. So how do we think they're going to solve the problem? Subsidy problem is the biggest thing in one of the biggest problems we have now. So do you really think those guys there, without declaring their assets and telling us who owns what, are going to solve that problem? Now they want to do constitutional amendment. For what? Constitutional amendment to do what? Right now, we need them to even work with the... I thank God that Buhari did not talk about all these amendments.
Yes.
I don't want it. We don't want him to get involved in that.
So what do you think? What do you think Buhari will do when it comes to that constitution? When it comes,
no, he is an executor. He really can't do much if the people don't. If he believes, I don't know the provisions, the ones he believes in. If I were him, I would not drag myself into that. I'm going to face three major issues. I'm going to face the issue of unemployment in Nigeria and turn myself into a hero. In 6 months to 1 year, find alternatives to Shopi that works, where our youth can get employed. Number two, I'll face the problem of power. Number three, I'll face the problem of corruption. Those three things, the first, I don't even want to hear anything else.
About the constitution.
Constitution, even anything else, let me just face, because the issues are too many.
You need unemployment, power, corruption.
And corruption.
Because
and then,
he mentioned Shopi.
Yes.
And also he mentioned subsidy. Yes. And you remember when it comes to the budget, sure. The budget that was passed, passed, and we heard that subsidy was not taken care of.
Originally we had.
Originally we had. Later on they said, but is it confirmed? Yes. But there was provision for Sure-P, which is, I've forgotten how many billions that was. There was a provision for Sure-P. So do you think when Buhari comes in there now, we need to talk about a new budget? Because when you talk about the recurrent expenditure and even the capital expenditure, the recurrent, even still in that one, when we're talking about building infrastructures, the recurrent is almost 90 to 80%, I guess.
Yes, I agree with you, but we are yet to have a budget as we speak now.
You are yet to have.
The appropriation bill has not been signed into an act. It is when it becomes an act. As far as I know, I don't think Jonathan has signed it, except if you think if you've seen
did it secretly.
If he did so secretly, but it has not been signed.
And
it is only when it is signed that we begin to talk about having a new budget. So this bill is subject to revision until it becomes an act. And in that situation, you have an amendment to the Appropriation Act. So in any case, Buhari's APC is not Jonathan's PDP. Definitely changes must come to pass. Whatever may be our views, whether we like it or not, Buhari will deal with many things differently. But I want to quickly comment on unemployment.
Yes.
I want to let Nigerians know that no government can employ reasonably well, but a government can create the conditions that will allow the private sector to do employment. If you look towards a government to employ people, you will miss the mark. I don't know of any economy where you rely entirely on government to employ people.
So there should be a PPP, right? Maybe a public-private partnership.
No. By whatever name you call it, you discover that without power, you will definitely not have employment. Let me tell you, if you don't have power and you are claiming you will employ civil servants.
Let me tell you about power.
You will sack them too.
Let me tell you about power.
The same manner you employ them, the same manner you will sack them. Except there is a sustaining factor, there is a foundational factor. And that foundational thing, as far as this country is concerned now, is power. If you give people power, people will definitely, I know of investors that have divested from Nigeria, including Nigerians, because of power.
Let's talk about power.
So
and power is our commercial break, which is another one. Do stay with us. We need to go on a short break. We'll come back to you. Thank you for staying tuned. If you're just joining us, I still have Dr. Okpebanwo and Chukwemeka Eze in the house. And before we went to break, I interrupted you. You wanted to talk about power. Yes, that's one of the three major things. Yes, the corruption, power, and unemployment.
That's what I would face if I were Buhari, which is the three, like you rightly said. Of course, power drives everything. One of the reasons why most companies in Nigeria that are doing honest business are not being very profitable is the issue of power, because 60 or 70% of your running expense is on power. If that is eliminated to like 10% or 15% with constant power, where you don't have to buy diesel and all of that stuff, then we can start to come out of the woods. But I wanted to go back to the issue of unemployment.
And Sure-P, you wanted to mention Sure-P also. I
agree that in all things being equal, the issue of creating unemployment is not a government function. All right, it should be a private sector function.
So you agree with Barrister?
Yeah, I say ordinarily.
Okay.
But I'm saying in the Nigerian situation, for several reasons, That is not what we are faced, because we are in a situation of unemployment crisis where most of our youths, depending on the figure you are quoting, 50%, 60%, 70%, whichever one is accurate, all of us agree that it's a bad thing, because if you take 10 youths anywhere, less than 3 of them have paid employment. So we are in almost a mono-economic country. This is not America. This is not Britain, where most of the money is being generated by government. The money is there. We have oil. So government needs to put a lot of that money into use in getting our youth unemployed. Even in America, during the time of the Great Depression, where this is supposed to be a capitalist country, Roosevelt went on a massive government employment of the people with projects. We have Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We have all these things that government should set up commissions or organizations that will use mass labor. Okay, see, because in dangerous times, you go for dangerous solutions, drastic solutions rather. Right now, we need initiatives from the government that will create massive employment
even railways.
Even railways.
Yeah,
so you use a lot of those unemployed is number one. Number two, you look for working alternatives to Shopee. Right now, Shopee, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the biggest scandals we have in our country.
But it's been budgeted for already.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. That needs to be reviewed, because you pay 18,000 naira, which is slave labor, to a university graduate to go work for free for a private organization that is making profit. I think that's scandalous. That's criminal. What they should do, 18,000 for 1 year, is 240,000 naira. All right? Or 216,000. All right? Instead of spending that, why can't they look for a solution where that 200,000 can actually create a situation where that boy, that girl, can employ himself permanently? And digital solutions are there. For less than 100,000, I can train somebody in the space of 10 days how to employ himself and get himself to between 50,000 naira to 100,000 naira a month.
And he does employ somebody else.
Yeah, he employs himself.
He goes
exactly.
and goes.
And that money will include computer. It will include internet for him to train him. So why continue to pay subsidized private individuals who are making profit with the sweat and intelligence of our people who have been paid 18,000 naira?
But
so Shopee needs to be revisited, what I'm saying. But that is just one of the things. Unemployment is a major issue. Government cannot walk away from it, even if it's a temporary solution. They need to create massive structural projects, all this power thing, road, railway, that will employ our people, even if it's a 2-year plan.
But is it whose responsibility is that to help the president in managing that sector? Or is it a think tank now, the people that are going to be brought in as the ministers or the legislators now? Who are those that should, like what he has reeled out now? Somebody should be taking note of most of these things you're saying. Whose responsibility should that be? Is it the lawmakers that we elected there, or the ministers that we are waiting for that are going to be doing this job?
I remember jam questions. All of the above.
All of the above.
None of the above. So I choose all of the above.
All of the above.
Sure, because all hands need to be on deck for success. You see, like the body, you have the eyes, you have the legs. There is no part of the body that is not relevant. So you cannot rule out any. But I think the problem we really have is not having the platforms. It's not that we don't have the platforms. We have the platforms, but people, we don't run a productive economy. I give you an instance of what I mean. People sit down, including the government, like we have been saying Shopee. Is it only the federal government that we have in this country? What have the states been doing? Shouldn't they be adopting this formula that must we look up to Abuja for every good idea? So the states too ought to have been doing something.
To generate something.
Yes, in respect of employment. So be that as it may, it seems to me that the problem we have, we should be getting to solution now.
Solution, because we need to be winding up.
We are winding up.
Yeah,
yes.
in like 2 minutes
and
we need to round up.
that's why I'm moving to solution.
Yes.
Because we've spoken so much about the problem. So it seems that once Buhari leads by example, and we get a head of legislature that will not hold the executive to ransom before they pass bills, and they respect the sensibilities of Nigerians, instead of passing a bill within a month or two, like the appropriation, then you recall that even the private sector makes its budget based on the national budget. The federal government refuses, the federal legislature refuses to pass a budget up till May. What do you expect those in the real sector, how do they plan their own budgets? It has a ripple effect. So that's why people in the executive and the legislature should not detach themselves from the general economy. Once they don't do so, definitely things will
Dr. Bao, in conclusion, Dr. Okpebholo.
I would say that never in the history of Nigeria has there been so much being expected or being hoped for in a man. All right? From people like me and millions out there, we are all expecting Mr. Buhari to set the tone. We don't expect him to solve all the problem. He can't. But we have singled out the issue that leadership is our #1 problem, and that the body language of the #1 man in Nigeria filters very quickly to Nigeria. Nigeria is not that hard to sort out. But Nigerians are not stupid either. If your president says, I don't give a damn about asset declaration, why should the permanent secretary, why should the board chairman declare his own assets, even though, like you rightly said, he did declare. But those kind of comments,
publicly.
Yeah, and those kind of comments sends down. So, but if a Buhari comes out, like he's saying, I want to obey traffic laws, all right? Just like when Fashola started obeying traffic laws, you disobey traffic laws. Now, nobody will have any sympathy for you when you're arrested. So, it is all about leadership and what Buhari represents. I'm not saying Buhari is a genius. I know he's not. I'm not saying he's a superb administrator. I know he's not. But one thing he does have that I think Nigeria is missing so much is that personal integrity and the force of will to say this is where we are going.
And if it stands there, it's going to trickle
down. And then, so that is what I think, and we should just pray for him, because like he himself said, he said he was overwhelmed and afraid when he went to Kano and he saw the expectation in the eyes of the people, that he's afraid that people think the minute he's sworn in, Nigeria will become heaven. He knows it's not. So we should pray for him for wisdom, discernment of some of those jackals that are already circling him, for everybody to let the man live up to the change that we all hope for.
Prayers we need. On the 22nd, there's going to be a Jumat service.
Yes.
On the 24th, there's going to be interdenominational church service. So prayers we need. Thank you very much, Dr. Okpebholo, a lawyer, a public commentator, and co-founder Change Vigilantes organization. Thank you very much. And also Chukwemeka Eze, a lawyer and editor-in-chief, Media Law Report. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You've been fantastic. Thank you very much. And that's our package today. My name is Dapo Aruwajoye. Bye for now.